with the upcoming release of the Batman Knightfall animated movie, which looks awesome, I decided to purchase Volume 1 of Batman Knightfall, which introduces a new villain called Bane, which I'm assuming at the time must have been so awesome. All the setup and the marketing of the Knightfall trilogy was so mysterious and dark. Like, imagine flipping through a comic book in 1993 and seeing this. It must have been really cool. And for the most part, it is really cool. The first part of Knightfall features Batman fighting every single enemy that escaped Arkham Asylum one after another, while the mysterious Bane stalks the Batman. And for the first 10 issues of Knightfall, it shows the breaking of the Batman, pretty much putting him through hell. Then issue 11 comes around and you thought it could never happen. This is the first battle with Batman and Bane, and it's brutal as hell. For context, Bane wants to defeat Batman and take over Gotham City because he had a dream sequence back in Santa Prisca about fear, and that fear makes him look weak. And Batman, he represents fear. And I mean, look how well that turned out. So in conclusion, Bane is cool because he did indeed break the Batman mentally and physically. But let's get serious here. Bane sucks. He's cool in his first appearance, but anytime he's in a movie, TV show, or even video game, he is just there and he's like, it's boring and lame. And he's like this in the comics too, to some extent at least. He is a complete and utter jobber. Pretty much the Doomsday to Batman. So get ready, because we're gonna talk about Bane a lot in this video. Also like, comment, and subscribe. Enjoy the video. First, we're gonna talk about the shows that Bane is present in. To begin with, we have B-Test Bane, which has a total of 5 appearances in the entire DCAU. Which isn't a lot, but with that many low appearances, he should have some pretty good episodes, right? And for the most part, yeah, he does. He has some pretty good episodes. Apparently the people making the show didn't actually want to use Bane, or at least that's what Genomite told me, so I did some digging around. And yeah, they did not like Bane because him breaking Batman's back is stupid, which, no, it's not. It's really cool. So they decided to change his story into being a job for hire, an assassin, which is fairly interesting. And one thing I do really like about Bane in all his appearances is that he is very foreboding and scary, like an impossible challenge, which is kind of his whole character if done right. And my favorite appearance of him is in Batman Beyond, where he is a dying man, which I think is pretty cool. You know, it comes full circle. He goes from strong to weak because of drugs. But B-Test Bane is fine, really. Again, he's kind of just a hard boss fight, and that's about it. He has some cool factor in the series, but not as much cool factor as Bane in Knightfall. He wasn't a genius. He was mostly a big dumbo, which is what most people do with Bane, and it sucks. What sucks even harder is the way they defeat him, by cutting off his cord. Please remember this. But B-Test Bane, overall, is not the worst thing in the world. He's strong and cool, but also a big dumbo. The next show I would talk about would be Batman Beyond, but I kind of already mentioned him in the last section, so I won't go too deep into it, but I do really like his appearance in it, and that's about it. The Batman TV show is a pretty cool reinvention of the Batman mythos. Most of the villains are just okay, but most of them are pretty awesome, like the Joker, the Penguin, and the Riddler. But some lack, like Mr. Freeze, who has the second best design in the whole show. But the one that sucks the most is Bane. Bane in the Batman sucks, which sucks because he has a really awesome design. I even have his toy. Like, he looks pretty cool. Anyway, he appears, get this, 4 times in 62 episodes! And he only has 1 episode to himself completely. This Bane sucks. In his first episode, which is a good episode, they turn Bane again into an assassin, which is fine. And again, it's the fact that Bane is a really hard challenge. But somehow it sucks worse here. Bane throws him into a car, which gets him so pissed off he becomes red. And then he defeats Batman with simple Bane stuff. And he fucks off for a bit, long enough for Batman to build a robot Batsuit to fight Bane, which I will admit, the fight is pretty cool. And it actually has great tension, and it looks really nice too. And Batman uses his extendo arm and defeats Bane. Bane literally has no other appearances until the final season where he is a jobber. This sucks beyond belief because every villain in the show at least gets 2 episodes to themselves completely. Killer Moth gets 2 episodes! And Bane got 1 and then got relegated to being a jobber, which is really bad. This is a bad Bane. This Bane is when the writers look at him and just look at him as a big meathead, which sucks. It does not get better from here. Brave and the Bold Bane might be the worst Bane yet. I understand that the show is more so about other villains and not the main ones, but that's no excuse to make the Bane so weak. He can't even remove a battering that Batman throws at him, because he is that weak. And Bane, he has a good physique even without the Venom. So this doesn't make any sense. And he has to activate his Venom to take it out. Isn't that crazy? Bane is supposed to be strong without the Venom too, you know. I might as well call this Venom 007. No aura, no dialogue, and 7 minor cameos in episodes. And he doesn't even appear in 7 episodes. He appears in 6. And he has a mini episode to himself. I understand that Brave and the Bold is a very different show, so I understand why Bane isn't very good. But you could have done better than this. Alright, I'm gonna calm down for a little bit. But I also thought I would mention the miniseries, Batman of Shanghai, which he is fine, nothing special at all. The show is pretty cool, and that's about it. Beware the Batman teases Venom, but Bane doesn't appear. And he is not in Cape Crusader, but if he is in Season 3, please don't make him boring. That's all I ask. Don't make him a big, dumb meathead. Now this is where Bane gets good. Before I go into the movies, I want to talk about the video game. Only Arkham, however, I know he's in the Telltale series, but I don't want to do research on that on fear for spoilers. I only just beat the first game a while back, and I wasn't spoiled, and that made my experience so much better. So I won't be talking about him. But Bane sucks in the Arkham games. In Asylum and City, at least. In Asylum, he is just there, and he's a big Dumbo, even more so because his design is shit as well. Then in Arkham City, he teams up with Batman to destroy the Titan containers, which he has a stash of himself. And Bane loses in the most embarrassing way ever. You're telling me he cannot break through those bars? With sucks so much. But there is one game that does Bane justice. You know what it is? It's Arkham Origins. Bane in Arkham Origins is heavily praised because yes, he is really that good. In Origins, Bane doesn't want to kill the Batman for the money, but he does it for the sport. And he won't stop at nothing to stop. He respects him with honor and gives Bruce a challenge. He also finds out that Batman is Bruce Wayne and sets out to break the man, not the bat. Bane goes after Alfred, who's the only person Batman has left. And it's a pretty emotional setup for the final battle. He breaks Batman mentally, the mental games. Plus, his design is amazing. And I highly recommend you watch the analysis video that Clown Puncher 139 did on Arkham Origins Bane, because I gave a very condensed version of it, but he is honestly amazing. Now moving on to the movies, and they all suck. Batman and Robin Bane is really, really bad. I don't even want to talk about it because he is just a big guy, and that's that. Dark Knight Rises Bane, however, not the worst thing in the world, but I have big issues with him. For one, he doesn't even have Venom, so he is just a strong guy. He was trained by the League of Assassins, which is certainly something you can do with Bane, but the League in the Dark Knight trilogy is so basic, and that doesn't help Bane at all. Pretty much, he is a stronger Batman who kills. Bane has 2 feats in this story, takes away Bruce Wayne's money, and breaks his back. Which is cool to see in a movie but it has no impact, and it definitely has no impact later on in the movie when Batman comes back and wins against Bane. How? Because he just does. I'm going to be real. Batman coming back and his plan is to just beat up Bane and hope for the best is really stupid. Batman doesn't use any techniques like in the first fight. He just punches him harder and he wins because the plot tells him to. I love The Dark Knight Rises. It's for some reason an easily enjoyable movie at times, but this Bane is just a guy who went through training and broke Batman. And Batman himself doesn't improve. He just wins because the plot said so. You thought we were done? No. It's time to talk about some of the animated movies. Just the ones that Bane is in. But first, I will mention Mystery of the Batwoman, which is the only Batman animated movie I haven't seen. But I do know Bane is in it, and he does give Batman a pretty cool challenge, but also he is a work for hire, and his cord gets cut off, so he's kinda lame in the movie. The movies I'll be talking about are Justice League Doom, Batman Ninja, Batman vs. the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Merry Little Batman. Bane in Justice League Doom is pretty cool, pretty much doing what Origins did and breaking Bruce Wayne rather than the Batman. I know it's a very small scene, but I think it's pretty cool. He buries him with his parents, but Batman's willpower is just too strong and he breaks free. Bane then loses by losing his cord again, which sucks. He loses like this almost every single time, and it makes him look really pathetic. But he's okay, I guess. Batman Ninja Bane is another jobber, but I think it's cool that he's a sumo wrestler. And Batman fights him with his robot, and they fight. Bane loses, but he's barely in it, so it doesn't. Batman versus the Timid. He becomes a tiger, and that's about it. He's just normal. Merry Little Batman has a retired Bane, who honestly has a really cute design, but he doesn't do much other than be a part of the villains, but he's fine, I guess. As you can clearly tell from everything I spoke about today, Bane is really just a big brute which provides Batman with a physical challenge. I always thought Bane was pretty cool because he did break Batman's back, and he looks cool, but after reading Knightfall, they really do this guy ugly. So before I talk about our final subject, I will mention the story arc, City of Bane, which I heard was pretty cool, but I haven't read it. Read Batman by Tom King, and Bane kills Alfred, so he might be good. Anyway, Absolute Bane. This is a true reinvention of the character, because he's actually trying to do something different. I remember when this guy got revealed in his debut issue, it was insane. Batman's all like, I can kick your juiced up ass, and then Bane goes, juiced up? Question mark. And that look of horror Batman has when he's just been fighting regular Absolute Bane, it is really funny, but also really scary. And then he uses Venom and he's massive. The fact that Bane was winning without Venom is insane to me. Because usually Bane is provoked, then he uses Venom, which makes him look very weak. Absolute Bane has a similar origin to Vanilla Bane, except he has a father. He breaks out of prison and goes to Santa Prisca, where he meets the Joker and makes a deal with him. The deal is that Joker will help seize Santa Prisca and Bane would serve the Joker. And so he agrees, and he kills his father by breaking his back. It's in every universe, I guess. So it's kind of like Vanilla Bane, but he's more of a worker for Joker now, which is kind of leading to Jobber territory, but not really. The Jobber definition is pretty much a villain that is defeated quickly to show off a new villain or make a hero better, something like that. Absolute Bane defeats Batman and makes him go insane. Most of the time, Batman is trying to escape Arkham, but Bane stops him constantly. He's practically making Batman go insanity. And what makes Absolute Bane very different is instead of breaking Batman mentally and physically, he also breaks him psychologically, with constantly defeating him. And he also does experiments on Batman with his venom so he can retire in Santa Prisca, because Bane is trying to make a successor, which is actually really interesting. And we see this dark future through Alfred's words, and it's really brutal. It's insane. Bane respects Batman, which is a very interesting part of his character. And here he respects him differently. He sees potential in him. During this, Bane goes after his childhood friends and transforms them into Two-Face, Riddler, and the Penguin, and it's really brutal. This Bane is just straight up built different, and it ends in such an amazing way. In the finale of this arc, Batman actually uses his prep time in a manner to defeat Bane. Before, he went in with no plan, which didn't end too well. Now he is going in prepared. He has Killer Croc, Harley Quinn, and her gang, and Catwoman to help against this monster. And what Batman wants is for Bane to overdose so his plan can work. Batman drops a building on him, Killer Croc bites him, Batman slices his back with his axe, cuts off his arms, which then leads into Bane overdosing and legitimately getting pissed off at Batman, then proceeds to overdose and wail on Batman hard. Then the plan finally works. Catwoman shoots venom syringes because beforehand Batman has all his venom removed so he can use these to attack Bane. Then, in a scene very like Akira, Bane explodes and Batman wins. That is a way to stop Bane, alright? Absolute Bane is truly an amazing version of this character. Bane has been a pathetic jobber who loses the same way every time by getting his core cut off. And this story honestly made him not that, but more of a challenge to Batman, but also an experiment. But that'll do it for today's video content. Please let me know what you thought about it. And what do you think about Bane? And if you want to see me cover more Batman stuff, or a lot more random content, drop it down below and I'll see if I have interest in your topic. Thanks for watching and subscribe. Bye bye.